Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green. I'm the manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys. I just wanted to start the video a little early today so that you can see how much bigger Bald John Green is than Valoranga players. They are, of course, a team, I believe that they play in Spain or Portugal or probably Spain, Greece? Meredith, are you Googling it? And they, but they're a team of tiny people. And we have the giant and brilliant Bald John Green. So we're definitely going to win this game. We're going to play the match. Who are we starting today? We got Dicko and Dini on the bench. John Green and John Green up front. Sermon. I love Sermon. Very biased toward him. Today I'm going to talk about a video suggested by a Project for Awesome supporter, Isabel Crew. Thank you, Isabel, for giving to the Project for Awesome so you could pick the topic of a Wimbly Wombly video. You are a delight. And also, I really like your topic, which is to talk about the sort of aggressive responses. That was a very nice way of putting it, Isabel, that women receive on the internet. This is something that really, well, it interests me because we have removed half of people from online discourse by being through this like weird institutional sexism. I shouldn't say that it's weird because, of course, it's so common and ubiquitous that it isn't weird. It's just tragic. Look at Amanko wearing pants. He's not afraid to wear pants out. And he's got the somewhat long sleeves today. It's an amazing thing to be allergic to grass and a professional goalkeeper. It's beautiful. There's something just wonderful about it. It's a little bit of blue-on-blue violence today. Where's this team from? I don't remember what they're called. They're Norwegian? I've always wanted to live in Norway. Oh yeah, they've got the Norwegian lower back, and the Norwegian men just have the most wonderful V-shaped torsos. Look at Sermon, that beautiful ginger. He's so fast. And we've got D. Michelis with his just hideous hair. Just an embarrassment to his country. To YourGolfTravel.com, AFC Wimbledon sponsor. I hung out with those guys, by the way, when I went and saw AFC Wimbledon. Anyway, so we're second. The top two teams move on, so we need to win this game because this is a Norwegian club and they're not second. We just need, we're just going to try to win. So, women on the internet are treated fundamentally differently from the way men on the internet are treated, especially when they get audiences. And sort of, I think the larger the audience a woman gets, the more kind of like vitriol she receives. Oh my God, that was almost a beautiful goal. I probably should have slotted it in instead of going first time. Other John Green, Nay Bennett, notoriously bad on those first time shots. Probably should have slotted it into his husband with a little bit of the Y button, but I made a different choice and I'm full of regrets. Yeah, I think like when women get audiences, it's seen as a threat, but I also think that there's something about the way that you know, men, when they like the work that women do, instead of enjoying it, they see it as like almost an invitation to harass them and to, you know, maybe in your mind it's like, oh, I want to become friends with this person or I want this person to marry me or whatever. But like it amounts to harassment, especially when it happens on, you know, on a scale of like 10,000 people doing it. I was recently talking to an actress who I won't name, not least because I don't want her to get more vitriol. But I mean, this isn't just true for people on the internet. Like, and she's in her mid-40s now, but was sort of like a big star when she was in her 20s, and when she does book signings, because she also writes books, she told me that like men bring collages of her like pictures from movies for her to sign, and like and they just like take the screenshots of when she's in a bra or whatever in a movie, and like that's just not something that would happen to me. Like, I have been shirtless in several Vlogbrothers videos over the years, and I've signed for tens of thousands of nerd fighters, and never once has a nerd fighter brought me a collage full of my shirtless Vlogbrothers moments and said, could you please sign this? And like, that's humorous because we take it for granted that of course that would never happen. Now admittedly, that might be partly because I'm not widely considered to be a sex symbol. But I think it's also because of my sex. I think it's also because I'm a guy, and guys are treated fundamentally differently and better on the internet. It's Sermon! Oh! Sermon with an amazing chance. He doesn't even have a song yet, Meredith. We need a song for him, Wimbly Wombly supporters. So I just like when people, I know lots of people say, oh, cleared off the line. I know lots of people say that this is not a real issue or that women blow it out of proportion or whatever. But to me, like, the evidence is just like, the data is just overwhelming. I mean, look at the percentage of women in the most viewed, you know, in the most viewed YouTubes. Like, it's very low. And the women who are in that percentage, they have to regularly get orders of protection against stalkers. And against people who are harassing them and abusing them. That's something I've never had to do, despite having a much larger audience than a lot of these women. And so it's just like it's so common for someone like Hannah Hart or Grace Helbig to have to get an order of protection that like they have a system for doing it. Well, that's that's clear evidence that there is an issue, and that it's. And I also think it's not just, by the way, women with large audiences. You see it all the time. It's like it's somehow like some kind of existential. I don't have a great understanding of how it happens. So I guess maybe that's why I'm bumbling a little bit. But like, oh, come on! Better than that, guys. Better than that. That's to your husband, not to whoever is playing right midfield. And it's also not people with huge audiences. Like, I mean, the Tumblr asks of, like women I know, including my wife, but also, like Rosianna or other people. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, the judgments about their bodies. I mean, no, again, I've never received a Tumblr ask about my body. Like, saying that my body is X or my body is Y or my body should be X or Y or saying terrible things about my body. I get lots of Tumblr asks saying terrible things about me, but like this like weird fascination, again, I shouldn't say weird because tragically it isn't, but like this like overwhelming fascination with women's bodies, the sense that like somehow men own them or control them or should be allowed to like make broad statements about them. Like, you can't deny that stuff happens on a daily basis on the internet, and that it is really, really troubling. So I'm also troubled by it because I think we are all way better off if we live in a world in which everybody can participate in the discourse. So I am troubled by the fact that many people in the developing world can't participate in the discourse because they don't have access to the same technological tools that we're using, and so we end up not including them in our conversations. And I'm troubled by the fact that women are, in many cases, forced away from those conversations, or else, know that it's going to be a horrible, horrible task just to be a person online. That it's going to be stressful and overwhelming and just to be a human on the internet. And that's not something I mean, there are things that I deal with online that are difficult, like, but nothing like that. And I think I think that I think that gender is a big part of the reason for that. There are other things as well, but I think gender is a big part of the reason. And I think that there's been this really heroic and exciting activism in the last year or two, especially, that I've seen it with women saying like, oh, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm not gonna put up with that anymore. Like, I'm going to have a Twitter, and I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm not going to, like, we really have to play some defense here, guys. Come on, pass it out of the back like Wimbly Womblys do. Yes. Like, I'm just not gonna. I'm not going to remove myself from the conversation just because you're attacking me. And I think that's had a big impact, and hopefully it will continue to have an impact, because we need. Oh, it's got to be, but it isn't. We need. We can't continue to live in this world where only men really end up with voices online, or primarily men end up with voices online, because it just worsens inequality, and I think in the end it worsens that culture of entitlement and that feeling of like ownership and control over women, and so yeah. That's, I mean, as far as like what can be done about it, I think that while I know it's not always possible because of harassment and threats, and everybody's different, and certainly, you know, I don't want to encourage people to do things that they are unsafe or feel unsafe doing. I think, you know, like continuing in spite of it to have a voice online is a great way of standing up for not just yourself, but for other people as well. These guys are playing really dirty. I always thought Norwegians were nice players, but they're a little bit dirty. The other thing that I'd say is that you know, it's important for people who have voices to seek out more diverse voices online and what they listen to, and you know, like I'm trying really hard right now to follow better people on Twitter and Tumblr, or like a more diverse group of people on Twitter and Tumblr. How many times are you guys going to foul me, seriously? Because that becomes so much of like what you hear, like the kind of information that you get access to is controlled by the network that you choose. In today's world, really, that doesn't seem like a good place to pass the ball. I would have made a different choice. That's one of those FIFA moments where like FIFA really is not like real soccer, because obviously Sermon was trying to pass to somebody else. What should his name be, Sermon or Sermon? Like a preacher. Maybe a song could be that "Take Me to Church" song, Meredith. I love that song. Oh, I like the way that you were trying to pass it back, but it didn't work. Like, so much effort in this world. It's been a very disappointing game from the Wimbly Womblys. I think we have to make a change. It's because I've been focusing too much on the topic and not enough on the play. And then also, like, encouraging, you know, so one of the things, the Vlogbrothers have this, Vlogbrothers income now goes to half to the Project for Awesome and half to educational projects, and we've really tried to focus that money on people who don't have access to the kinds of privileges and easy, you know, like the built-in structural advantages that some popular YouTube channels have. So, like from Physics Girl to Kelly's documentary about sexual assault. A lot of the new one of the new projects that Vlogbrothers Income is supporting in EDU is this great financial blog run by a young woman, and it's about like how to, you know, save money and as a young female millennial. God, did I just use the word millennial, Meredith? Oh my God, I hate myself. Oh, it has to be. Ball John Green, I need you to give yourself to the ball. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh, Ball John Green, I needed you to sacrifice. That's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, obviously, 0-0 away from home isn't a disaster, but it's not what we want. We're making 3 substitutions all at once, just like the pros do. They're making 1 substitution at once, like cowardly amateurs. And we're going to try hard to win this game here in the last 7 minutes. So I think, like, yeah, it's also about sort of trying to find, at least, you know, one thing that I'm trying to do a better job of is finding ways to listen better, and then also to, you know, when in that process of listening, you find voices that deserve amplification, to try to find ways to amplify them. Get through, you're the fastest and the greatest. Oh, that's frustrating. That's frustrating. Yeah, but it is, I mean, it's a huge, huge problem online, and I think if people aren't acknowledging it, then they're just not being honest with themselves. It's H. Walter White. He's made it all the way up from right back. H. Walter White still on the ball to Ball John Green. Oh my God, it almost happened. But it didn't, because Ball John Green, again, he just didn't have the snap of the neck that we need. You know, he's got to get some He's got to get some real meat on those headers. And again, Ball John Green fails to control the ball, and the game is over, and it's a 0-0 draw. We should have done better. I want to apologize to my friends, my family, my supporters, everybody who cares about AFC Wimbledon, the real AFC Wimbledon, who will be disgusted with this performance. I'm sorry. We're better than this. Maybe it was because it was blue-on-blue violence. That never goes well for us. We're going to go back to the locker room here in Norway. We're going to have a great conversation about the benefits of, socialized health care and having a good social safety net. And then I'm going to rip these boys apart for not playing better. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.